In this video, I want to talk to you about the trap of perfectionism. Now, this is a topic that I have a lot of lived experience with, unfortunately, and it's something that this is something that I'm always going through. I'm always struggling with because I'm always trying to be a perfectionist with stuff. So it's a topic I want to air my thoughts with because it's on my mind and it's something I want to share with you, and you may go through the same thing yourself. So it's sometimes good to know that you're not alone in something. The things you may be feeling or the things you may be going through may not be as uncommon as you think. They're actually more common than you think. And the topic of perfectionism, the reason why I call it the trap of perfectionism is because if you're not careful and you're not conscious of your perfectionism, it can quite literally trap you, because as a whole, being a perfectionist, in my opinion, just holds you back in life. It stops you from doing stuff because you're always waiting and you're always trying to get everything perfect before you release something. It doesn't matter what that is. I just mean anything in general, whether it's showing it to someone. It could be a drawing you've done and you want to show it to someone, but you're scared. You're scared because, they might not like it. Or it might be something out in the public, like these videos I do. If you're trying to get it perfect, how are you ever going to get any content out there? If I was waiting to get things perfect, how do you progress? You can't progress. And like I said, this is something that I actively battle with, because whenever I do something, and most people do want that thing to be the best that they can make it. But at the same time, when you do that, it stops you from putting anything out there, and it stops you from becoming better as a person. It stops your personal development. It stops your self-improvement, because the only way you get better at something is by actively doing it. And by actively doing something, by releasing something, you get feedback. And how else are you going to be able to progress? So this topic, when I think about it, like even with my previous videos where they were so scripted, again, perfectionism, wanting to get them perfect, removing all the ums, removing all the buts, removing all of the thinking going on. And just seeing, and the viewer just seeing, yourself just seeing the polished version. But that's not real, and it does come down to perfectionism, wanting to be a perfectionist. And honestly, the more I think about it, there has been no benefit. I can't think of any time in my life where, because I've been a perfectionist, as long as I can remember. And honestly, there is no benefit, because every time I just took myself out of it and said, no, it's all right, just do it, I was happy once I'd done something. But then every single time when I tried to get something perfect, to this day, I still don't know, because it was never out there, it was never released, or I never showed somebody something because I was trying to get it perfect. And that's the big disadvantage with perfectionism. You might think, that being a perfectionist is good because it looks good. And I say that with confidence when I say look good, because I do think it's an external thing. Because when you're in your private space, you're not really caring too much about the perfectionism, because you're kind of working privately and you're building the thing you're building. But then as soon as as if somebody wants to see that thing, now it's like the pressure's there because now you have opinions, now you have feedback, and what if you don't like that feedback? Which is a topic of the ego and stuff, and the ego holds you back in all areas of your life. But I'll make a video on that topic another time. But yeah, just thinking about that it is external, because what is this perfectionism for? Because it's not doing you any benefit. It's not doing you any benefit. The only way you grow and the only way you learn is by being imperfect. And as humans, we are not perfect, man. Like we have imperfections. And I think when we stop trying to be perfect, when we stop trying to put ourselves on this super high pedestal, and we just embrace who we are while improving, while still doing personal development, while still trying to become the best version of yourself. But if you embrace that, then you can just be you and become the best version that you can be, not what somebody else can be, or trying to imitate somebody else, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you're an artist, for example, you're going to mostly compare yourself to somebody else. And that in itself stops you. Because now it comes to the topic of other people's opinions. So yeah, all these things are connected, and being a perfectionist, like, literally just holds you back in every area of your life. And I can understand where, like, being a perfectionist in some areas is necessary. It's a must. There's literally, like, it's just a must in areas like architecture, or if you're like maths, anything where the measurements are specific. Because if they're not, then you might have a building up that's not safe, or you might work out a calculation which is going to be used for something super important, but that calculation was wrong. So in those things, I understand fully. You have to be a perfectionist. You have to get that right. But in most things, in my opinion, I feel like it just holds you back. Like, I don't think I'd be producing these videos in the style I am, in the way I am, if I was still trying to be a perfectionist. Because that's what I was trying to do before, and I burnt out from doing it. Because everything had to be so finely edited to make the information, the things I'm saying, really condensed, and then just, in a really short form, being put out there. But yeah, so I just think to myself that there's no benefit to being a perfectionist. Honestly, all it's going to do is hold you back. And if you want to try to improve yourself, and if you're trying to make improvements within your life, this whole concept, you need to ask yourself. Because me just saying to you, like, if somebody said to me, just stop being a perfectionist, it's not helpful. It doesn't do anything. Just telling somebody to stop doing something doesn't mean they just stop doing it. It's deeper than that. Which is why I think deep about these things. Like, I thought to myself, well, most things, if you have an issue or you suffer with something, most things are from childhood. But there was never a situation where I can think of, really, where I was told that this has to be perfect, and if you don't get it perfect, then here's the consequences. I was never made to feel like that. I was always told from people, try your best. And so when I go into that side of it, I try to think of different occasions and experiences throughout my life, and there's nothing there where it says, well, you have to be a perfectionist. So the more and more I think about it, it will just literally come down to myself, as most things do. Even overthinking, which I'll talk to you about another time as well. Even that, I suffer massively of overthinking. Yeah, overthinking for me is overthinking and being a perfectionist. They're very closely tied, because when you are a perfectionist, you then look at something and you overthink it, rather than saying, well, it's 80% there, I'm going to release it anyway, it's going to be all right, and then I'll improve from there. You think to yourself, well, it's not 100% right, so now I'm going to not release it or not show anyone it. Again, the overthinking. And that's why I say all it really does is hold you back in life. So like I said, I can't think of anything where those experiences have happened where I had to be a perfectionist, and it just comes down to me, myself. But doing these videos is making me understand and making me accept that it's fine not to be perfect. It's fine just to be you. And like I said in my other video, my previous ones, I said that, trying to get everything perfect, and it's something that I've, suffered with and stuff. And now I just think to myself, if it wasn't for just saying to myself, look, it's all right not to have everything perfect. It's okay not to speak perfectly. It's fine to make a mistake. It's fine to mispronounce something, whatever it is. Whereas before I'll be so paranoid about it, and then I'm just thinking about, I just want to stay on track, I just want to stay on point, then I'm not being myself, I'm not talking about the things I want to talk about, because I'm thinking more about the perfectionism. So that's all just fading away now, because you can only be you, and naturally as humans we all have imperfections. Like we're not perfect, we all have imperfections, and accepting that, just saying, oh, accept it, it doesn't really have any meaning to me. It doesn't really have any emphasis to it, doesn't have any weight to it. But when you really think about like embracing who you are and being who you are, and then you can be the best version you can be as you are, that to me, I think bit by bit it's starting to sink in. And I wanted to make this video because the perfectionism side of it stops me from doing certain things. And with YouTube, making that video, my video coming back, why I've not been on YouTube, that was a very, very hard, difficult, challenging video for me to make, because I'm being raw, I'm letting you into my life, and it's public after all, so you feel a little bit vulnerable in that sense. But then when I shot it, I said to myself, look, Luke, this is real. This is you. This is the stuff you've been through. This is the stuff you still go through. And it's real. It's your reality, and it is what it is. And just because it is what it is and it's not the most desirable thing, it doesn't mean that you're not still on this path of trying to improve yourself. You're not on this path of personal growth, personal development. So there's as I'm doing this, there's lots of things happening, and they all feel very freeing. But what I was doing and what I said was, I was going back and thinking to myself, where did this whole imperfection thing come from? And like I said, me just saying to you, stop being a perfectionist doesn't help. So ask yourself, why do you think you're a perfectionist? And I think I don't know if this is the right word or not. I'm just gonna say the word that comes to my mind, and that is, it could be imposter syndrome, it could be self-doubt, being a perfectionist, because why do you want it to be perfect? Why can't it not be perfect? Like, why does it have to be perfect? Like I said, it doesn't mean you're not striving to get better. It just means that, why does it have to be perfect? Like when you start or when you begin. So does it fall under some type of self-doubt? Does it fall under imposter syndrome? I was going to say, I don't know, but then maybe I do. Yeah. Just a little tip. Just a little tip. You know, like sometimes when you're thinking of stuff and you're trying to work something out, trying to understand it better, if you find yourself just forgetting about it and just saying, it'll just sort itself out, or I'll get to it another time, or oh, that's just the way it is. If you find yourself doing things like that, I think it's a sign that you need to just think a bit deeper about it. I said, doing these things, what I'm doing, this is not a comfortable thing. But in order to grow and in order to improve, we have to be uncomfortable. We have to step outside our comfort zone. And as I've said in my other videos, being in your comfort zone is very comfortable, but its growth only happens outside of your comfort zone. So if you feel like you suffer with, this whole perfectionism thing, maybe, look inwards, maybe ask yourself, why do I suffer with perfectionism? What's happened? When I was a kid, was I always told that I had to be perfect, or, at school, a job, whatever it is, like, is there something there? And really go into it. Really go into it and really think, and then if there isn't nothing, if it's like, well, no, there ain't nothing, like with myself, I'll continue digging. But I've come to the conclusion as of now that there isn't anything, but like I said, I'll continue having a look at it. But if you come to that conclusion where, no, there ain't anything, then maybe, it is just you. It just is you. Like I've said with myself, it's just me. It's just me overthinking. And it would come down to things like fear, putting things out there and being vulnerable. I think it does come down to things like that. Because why else would we have that fear? Why else would we have that? Like, why does it need to be perfect? And I always come back to that, and it's like, it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't. And that's the way we progress. And it's like a trap. It's like a trap in our mind. Like the mind is such a powerful tool, but at the same time we have internal monologue going on, i.e. self-talk. We have a lot of self-talk going on, and sometimes that self-talk it feels like it's not there to serve us, and then other times it is. I guess that's the human mind. I guess that's just the mind and how it works, and it's something that's always going to interest me because I love, how our thoughts work and stuff, and just us as humans, how we operate, how we think, why we do what we do. Yeah, these topics have always interested me, and yeah, so now I'm just talking about them. Now I'm just talking, rather than keeping them in my head and writing them down and stuff. Now I'm just talking about them. But yeah, if you feel like you are a perfectionist, just like I feel like I am, look at the facts for what they are. Is this helping me move forward or not? If it's not, then why am I still letting this idea of being a perfectionist stick with me? I need to get rid of it. I need to give myself new information. Because the evidence, if you look at your life, the evidence of being a perfectionist is mostly slim to none. I know for me it is. And it's like, yeah, there is no other benefit. There ain't no other benefit. So just Just be you, do what you need to do, and the whole idea of being a perfectionist just kind of goes out the window. And I said this whole thing for me is like, this whole thing is still new for me as well. Being on camera, not being a perfectionist on camera, I should say, not being a perfectionist on camera. Yeah, so I'm actually going through this. I'm actually going through this. Like I said, it's something that overthinking, I think, is even worse for me. Overthinking, it's like, it's just constant. It's like I'll have an idea or I'll think of something, and then I'll just think of all different angles and yeah. Overthinking, I think I'll do another video at another time. But yeah, I think I'm done with this video. I've not got that much more to say, other than if you feel like you're a perfectionist, just look at the evidence within your life and say to yourself, look, how has me being a perfectionist helped me? And if you're in a situation in your life where you're not where you want to be, as with most people, I don't think anyone's exactly where they want to be. But if you find yourself in that situation where, like, you do want to make improvements, and which you should, you do want to make improvements and you do want to better yourself, and you feel like the things that can improve you, the reason why you're not doing it is because perfectionism is holding you back, just start taking a hard look at the evidence and saying to yourself, look, this is not doing anything for me. I need to now just do it despite how I feel. Do it despite the fear of the unknown. And that is another thing as well. It's the fear of the unknown. Because even with these videos, if I put a video out there and I've said something and it's like, what about if somebody doesn't agree with it? Well, that's life. I'm going to say things that make sense, and in my mind, they sound like they make sense to me, and they sound coherent, but to somebody else they may not make sense, or they may not agree with it, and that's fine. I think getting over that as well is a big part of it. The opinions of others, allowing other people's, just because somebody thinks one way, it doesn't mean you have to think that way. Or just because you think a particular way, don't think that it's also alright for you to put your mindset to other people, because they might not want it. So that side of things as well. Yeah. Before my mind starts going off in other directions, because I can feel it wandering now. My mind tends to do that, but before it does that, I'm gonna end this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.